Olivia is angry with me. She barely looks in my direction, pressing her lips together as she walks a little faster than usual. I could ask her what's wrong, but it's pointless. I already know. She's mad because I ruined everything. Because I tore apart a deal that should never have existed in the first place. Or maybe I just shattered the illusion we were both living in. A few hours ago, we were walking along the waterfront, chatting about nothing. It was a warm evening, a light breeze in the air. Everything was normal, until he showed up. Ethan. He didn't introduce himself right away, but his posture, his gaze. Everything about him said he was a man who was used to getting what he wanted. And he wanted Olivia. "You look stunning," he said, as if I wasn't even there. "How much for a night with you?" A moment of silence. Olivia didn't pull her hand away. She didn't get offended, didn't roll her eyes. She smiled. "Are you serious?" "Absolutely." I scoffed, thinking it was some stupid joke. "Oh, I get it. This is a social experiment, right? Where are the cameras?" Ethan didn't react. $1,000. I had already started to pull Olivia away, but then I heard her laugh. Light, almost playful. "Just 1,000? What?" I tensed. Olivia wasn't walking away, wasn't outraged. She was playing along. Ethan took in her reaction, tilting his head slightly. "All right, 5,000. I turned to him. "Listen, buddy, this isn't a movie. Get lost." "There's no need to get angry," Ethan smirked. "I'm just making an offer." I was about to snap at him, but Olivia, she spoke first. 5,000 isn't serious, she said, like she was negotiating the price of a car. "Would you just hand over the money? Or are there conditions?" My vision went dark. "Olivia." She didn't even look at me. 10,000. "You'd really just put $10,000 on the table?" she asked. Ethan nodded. "For a night with you, yes." I stepped toward him sharply. "One more word, and I'll knock your teeth out." Ethan just smirked. 20,000. Olivia froze. I saw something shift in her. She looked at me, then at him, then back at me. "Olivia, if you say yes, our marriage is over." It wasn't a threat. It was a warning. She swallowed, took a step back. "No," she said. "I need to go." Ethan shrugged. "If you change your mind, let me know." He pulled out a business card and handed it to Olivia. She took it. Now, she's walking ahead of me, angry because I ruined her little game. I hear the rustle of her fingers in her jacket pocket. She didn't throw the card away. I didn't ruin anything. She made her own choice. Feeling my anger rise, bubbling up, breaking through, I quickened my pace, catching up to her and grabbing her elbow. "What the hell was that, Olivia?" She stops abruptly, yanking her arm free. "You're acting like a lunatic." "A lunatic?" I almost laugh. "Are you serious? Olivia, do you even understand what just happened?" She rolls her eyes. "Oh God, Noah, stop it already. It was just a stupid game." "A stupid game?" I lean in closer, searching her face. "You weren't joking. You were considering it. I saw it." She presses her lips together, shrugging at the same time. "So what? It's just a deal. Money, nothing more." I run a hand down my face, trying to process what she just said. "Do you even hear yourself? Are you seriously telling me that you were actually considering selling yourself?" Olivia crosses her arms. "Why do you say selling right away? Noah, you're so dramatic. It was just a conversation. But you know, 20,000 is a pretty decent amount. You're actually trying to justify this? Why not?" Her voice turns cold. "Would you turn down 20 grand if you could get it for one night?" I stare at her in disbelief. "This is cheating, Olivia. This is the end of everything." She sighs. "You're making it too complicated. It's just money." And then I remember. The business card. I glance at her pocket, feeling my pulse hammer in my temples. "Why didn't you throw it away?" She acts like she doesn't understand. "What?" "You know what I'm talking about. Why did you take his number?" She turns to me, now irritated. "You really think I'd call him? I think you didn't throw it away." She's silent for a second, then suddenly shoves her hand into her pocket, pulls out the card, and dramatically throws it aside. "There. Happy now?" The card flutters to the ground, caught by the wind. That doesn't change anything. You took it. Olivia tilts her head slightly. You know, Noah, you'd be a lot happier if you just learned to turn a blind eye to certain things. She turns and walks away, leaving me standing there alone. And I just stand there, watching as the business card slowly drifts away into the darkness. I got home in complete silence. As I stepped inside, I called out, Olivia? But the apartment was empty. No music from her phone, no sound of water running in the shower, not even the faint scent of her perfume in the air. I walked deeper inside, instinctively glancing into every room, even though I already knew. I didn't know why I was checking. Maybe I was hoping that while I was gone, everything had fallen back into place. That tonight never happened, that the scene on the waterfront was just a bad dream. But Olivia wasn't here. I tossed my keys on the table and walked to the fridge, opened the door, stared into nothing, closed it, turned on the TV, staring blankly at the screen. I was shaking. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I just didn't understand. I dialed her number. Ringing. She declined the call. I stared at the screen. Dialed again. Declined. Damn it. I gripped the phone tighter, trying to push away the creeping sense that something was very wrong, but it was already burning inside me. The screen lit up. A message. I'm not coming home tonight. Don't wait for me. The world shrank into a single point. I read the words once, twice, 3 times. Maybe I misunderstood? But no, it was perfectly clear. At first, just silence in my head. Then, a sharp, ice-cold stab in my chest. My breathing grew heavy. My fingers clenched into a fist. I wanted to break something, throw my phone at the wall, scream. But instead, I just stood there in absolute silence, staring at the screen, reading her short message, and realizing that my marriage was about to fall apart. I didn't hear her come back. The empty whiskey bottle on the nightstand explained why. I had just blacked out, drowning my thoughts in alcohol because there was no other way I could survive that night. But when I opened my eyes, she was already here. I heard the water running in the shower, footsteps in the kitchen, but it didn't register right away that it was her. For a second, I even thought I was dreaming, that the text from last night never happened, that I had imagined it. But when I stepped out of the bedroom, I saw her. Olivia stood by the window, scrolling through her phone, completely absorbed in whatever was on the screen. I expected, what? That she'd rush to explain herself? That she'd say something, anything? She said nothing. She was just there, back like nothing had happened, not making excuses, not looking guilty. I asked, "You came back?" She nodded, not looking up from her phone. Late? After midnight. She didn't ask if I waited for her. She didn't ask if I worried. She didn't care about anything except whatever was on that screen. The silence between us was deafening. I looked at her and didn't recognize her. The woman I loved, the one who had always been by my side. She wasn't here anymore. I felt it, but I didn't want to accept it, until she forced me to. We barely spoke the whole day. Olivia was distant, spending most of her time on her phone, leaving the apartment a couple of times, giving short, emotionless answers. I waited. I don't know why, but I waited. And then, she finally spoke. "You're still mad, aren't you?" I looked at her. "I'm not mad." It was a lie, but I said it calmly, almost as a fact. "I just don't understand how you could even consider it." She sighed, like the conversation exhausted her. "You're being dramatic. It was just money." I stared at her. Yesterday, it still felt like a joke. But now I realized there was nothing funny about it. She looked at me without guilt, without regret. And then, she told me the truth. I met with him. A second of silence. Something inside me snapped. I knew. I suspected. But hearing it out loud. What? I thought, it's just one night. Just money. For us. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even move. I couldn't believe she said that. You cheated on me? Willingly? For money? She didn't look away. Would you forgive me if it was for love? I staggered, gripping the back of a chair. For love? Olivia, this is worse. You know that, right? She just stayed silent. But I didn't need words anymore. I don't remember sitting down. Her last words still echoed in my head. I looked at her, but I saw a stranger in front of me. Who was she? Where was the woman who used to say we were a team? Where was the one who looked at me with warmth, with trust, with love? This Olivia was someone else. Cold, calculated, unapologetic. I tried to say something, but my thoughts were a mess, my breath uneven, like I had been punched in the gut. Yesterday, I thought she had just played along too much. Today, she had destroyed everything. You don't understand, Noah. I slowly lifted my gaze. We could have used that money for a house, for traveling, for us. I felt something inside me tighten. She really believed that? She thought this was logical? That she was doing something good? For us. I repeated. I almost laughed, almost choked on my rage. You're serious, Olivia? You sold yourself for us? How noble of you. She looked at me with irritation, like I was the one who didn't understand something obvious. You're overcomplicating this. It's just money. I barked so sharply that she flinched. It's just money, Olivia. You slept with another man for money, and now you're telling me it was for us? She blinked but didn't look away. She wasn't scared. She wasn't ashamed. I saw that she wanted to say something else, but then I noticed her phone. She was holding it in her hand. The screen was on, and I saw an incoming message. The sender's name. Ethan. The world shattered again. It's him? She blinked, pretending not to understand, but it was an act. I saw how her fingers tightened around the phone. You've been texting him this whole time? My voice was low, dangerously quiet. She didn't lie. Yes. Yes? I shot up from my seat, the chair crashing to the floor behind me. You're fucking kidding me, Olivia? She pressed her lips together, but there was no guilt in her eyes. It's just money, Noah. I shut my eyes, clenching my jaw to keep from exploding. When I looked at her again, I wanted to break something. You don't even understand the problem. The problem is you, Noah. She shook her head, like I was an idiot. You're saying this because you're a man. You have no idea what it's like to live in a world that only values you for your youth, for your body. That's how the world works. She paused before adding, I just used its rules. Something inside me finally broke. She really believed that. She didn't see anything wrong with what she did. I took a step back, like I had been struck. Looking back now, I realize, at that moment, I stopped feeling pain. I couldn't afford to. The betrayal, the anger, the disgust, it was all there, but it became background noise. A dull hum I pushed deep inside, because if I let myself feel it all at once, I'd either break myself or break her. But how do you break someone who doesn't even understand what they've done? How do you punish someone who doesn't believe they deserve it? She wasn't ashamed. She didn't avoid my gaze, didn't say she made a mistake. She simply stated a fact. She didn't ask for forgiveness, because she didn't think she needed to. But if she didn't understand, then the world would. That thought came suddenly, but once it did, it stuck. To say that I immediately thought about revenge would be a lie. At first, there was only emptiness. I felt like a man who had stepped onto ice, certain it was solid beneath him, only to plunge into freezing water in an instant. I couldn't just let it go. At first, I thought she'd realize it on her own, that the weight of her actions would hit her later, when she saw the way I looked at her, when she felt that there was nothing left between us. But I was wrong. Olivia felt no guilt. She just kept living as if nothing had happened. And that's when I understood. If she didn't realize it herself, I would make her. If she didn't feel shame, I would make her feel it. Olivia could mock my anger, dismiss it as childish, but society wouldn't be so forgiving. I started with her family. I thought they would stand by me. I thought they would condemn her. But when I sat across from them at the table and told them that Olivia had cheated on me, I didn't see outrage. I saw doubt. Why? Her father asked. I blinked. What do you mean, why? She just did it. Olivia has always been faithful to you. He studied me carefully. Something must have pushed her to this. It took me a moment to realize. He was looking for an excuse. I turned to her mother, but there was no shock on her face. Just heaviness. Noah, she said softly, you know about the financial struggles you've been having. I felt a coldness spread through me. You're serious right now? Olivia told us how hard things have been for you, that you were struggling, that you were stressed about work. She wanted to help. I stared at them in disbelief. I thought they'd be horrified. Instead, they understood her. I stood up. You're excusing her. Olivia's mother shook her head. We just know Olivia wouldn't do something like this without a reason. I looked at them and realized these people weren't my family anymore. They had chosen her side. And if they didn't see a problem, then I would make sure others did. Olivia thought her world wouldn't collapse, that she would keep her reputation intact, remain untarnished in the eyes of those around her. But if she believed this was just business, then I would turn that business against her. I would file for divorce. I would destroy her career. I would make sure her colleagues, her friends, her entire social circle, everyone, knew exactly who she was. She had to face the consequences, and I was going to make sure she did. I realized one thing. If you want to strike, you have to strike precisely. I didn't know exactly what I was supposed to feel. Anger? No. Blind rage doesn't destroy your enemy. It destroys you. I couldn't afford that. Disgust? Maybe. But above all, it was disappointment. Olivia didn't see the problem. To her, it was just a transaction. Just one night, just money. I spent the night at my computer, studying the law. Olivia hadn't just cheated. She had done it for money. That turned what she did into prostitution. It put her reputation at risk and could even affect the legal aspects of the divorce. And it could influence the court. I started gathering evidence. Screenshots of her messages. A recording of her confession. The money she brought home. I would file a lawsuit, and it wouldn't be amicable. Olivia loved her job. She was someone who valued her reputation. But reputation is built on trust. And I was going to make sure no one trusted her again. I wrote emails. To her colleagues. Her superiors. Her professional network. Olivia thought her status would protect her. She believed it was just a deal. But in the business world, reputation is everything. She wasn't just losing me. She was losing everything. The world doesn't forgive mistakes like this. One evening, she finally spoke. Are you going to hate me for the rest of your life? I slowly turned my head. I'm going to make sure you understand what you've done. She frowned. You have no right to judge me. I'm not judging. I'm just showing you the consequences. She let out an irritated breath. This isn't a crime, Noah. I didn't do anything wrong. I smirked. You sold yourself. She shrugged. So what? It's my body. My choice. I nodded. So you won't mind if everyone else finds out? She froze. For the first time, I saw something that looked like fear in her eyes. What do you mean? I stood up and stepped closer. I mean, you thought you could walk away from this untouched. I leaned in, lowering my voice to a whisper. But you can't. She pressed her lips together. You just want revenge. I smiled. I just want justice. And Olivia felt it. She knew now. She knew that I didn't love her anymore. Olivia came home later than usual. I had been waiting for this moment. She didn't speak right away. She just stood in the doorway, looking at me. There was something in her eyes I hadn't seen before. Not fear. Not guilt. Just confusion. What did you do? Her voice was steady, but there was tension beneath it. I slowly lifted my gaze from my cup of coffee. What are you talking about? She let out a humorless laugh. I just came from a meeting. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I said nothing. You went to my colleagues. My boss. You told them. She hesitated, as if she couldn't bring herself to say it out loud. I just told the truth. Olivia exhaled sharply, pacing across the room. You destroyed my career. No, you destroyed it yourself. She stopped. Do you really think this is fair? I looked at her carefully. Do you really think it's unfair? She pressed her lips together, turning away. I don't understand why you did this. I smirked. Do you really not understand? Or do you just want me to say it out loud? She clenched her fists. You're overcomplicating everything. You did this because you can't handle the truth. What truth, Olivia? She looked me dead in the eyes. That it was just money. I had expected that answer. And yet, in that moment, something inside me still snapped. Just money? She nodded. Yes. Money that could have helped us. Money that could have solved problems. Money that you're now using to destroy me. I inhaled slowly. You really believe that? Olivia didn't answer right away. You've never been a woman, Noah. You don't understand what it's like to live in a world where you're only valued for your body, where everything depends on how you look. I just played by the rules. I stared at her. You played by the rules. And now the rules are working against you. She spun around to face me, her eyes blazing with fury. You did this out of revenge. I shrugged. No, out of justice. She laughed. Bitter. Angry. Justice? This isn't justice, Noah. This is your resentment. Your pathetic attempt to prove something to me. I smirked again. Are you sure you even matter to me anymore? She froze. I pulled the papers from my pocket and tossed them onto the table. You have a week to sign them. Olivia stared at the documents as if she had never seen anything like them before. You're serious? I looked at her. I've never been more serious. She paled. You're just going to walk away? Just like that? I shrugged. What else did you expect me to do? She didn't answer. I turned and walked toward the door. Olivia didn't sign the papers in a week. She didn't sign them in 2. I knew she wouldn't go down without a fight. She didn't like losing. But the problem was, this wasn't a game anymore. She called me one evening, 2 weeks after our last conversation. Noah, we need to talk. I was silent for a few seconds, debating whether I should even answer. But finally I said, talk. She hesitated. I could hear her breathing, the way she took in a sharp breath, preparing to say something important. Do you really want this? I tightened my grip on the phone. Want what? This divorce. This ending. All of it. I let out a short laugh. Olivia, it ended the moment you took the money. She went silent. I heard a quiet, shaky exhale. I never wanted to lose you. But you did everything to make it happen. I didn't think it would matter this much to you. I closed my eyes. That's exactly it, Olivia. You didn't think. Silence. I can fix this. No. You don't understand, Noah. I've changed. I see it all now. It's too late. But I love you. I let out a bitter chuckle. Love me? Then why did you do it? I was stupid. I thought it was just that it didn't mean anything. But it does. She fell silent again. You really will never forgive me? I ran a hand down my face. No. Why? I sighed. Because I can't see you the same way anymore. Olivia let out a quiet sob. I lost you? No. You lost yourself, Olivia. I just walked away. I heard her breathing, heavy and uneven, searching for something, anything, to say. But there were no more words. I pressed end call, and that was the last thing I ever did for her. The papers were signed 3 days later. Olivia left her company a month after that. I never saw her again, but honestly, I didn't care anymore.